All right, we are heading home. Gonna head on the Greenway. Okay. We're on 29th Street here on the crosstown, quote, protected bike lane. This is 29th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. You can see I just passed a whole bunch of cars illegally parked. They're all placard abuse. FDNY, NYPD owned vehicles or drivers who are, you know, have just fake placards in their windows, parking perpendicular, all illegal. And you'll note that this is all quote unquote protected. Now here it's okay, it is protected, but take a look at the next block and get a sense right away it is not protected. I got a couple of questions. I think one of the questions I was gonna answer is just how I got into biking, and why I insist on riding a city bike, which is super heavy, slow, and yeah, it's just heavy and slow. Basically, those are the main things, and why I don't have my own bike. Like, what went wrong that I don't have my own bike? But first, a word from our sponsor. Shitty streets that are filled with potholes and grooves and bumps. The second word is from people like this who speed right next to you. And the third is a DOT protected bike lane that looks like this. This is what the city calls a protected bike lane. Take a look. It is not protected. It is not a bike lane. It is an underground path with postal service truck drivers that come out and kill you, and then a bunch of guys like this who are jutting out in the intersection. That's what we got. So that's our sponsors for today. Bike gutters. That's what I call them. This is not bad. So I can talk a little bit about how I got into biking and why I ride a city bike. City bike enabled me to ride. Because I really would not have jumped into it without sort of trying it out with city bike first. It's a preppy Connecticut convertible driver sitting in the bike lane smiling with his dog. Thank you. So yeah, back in 2016, I was definitely too scared to ride a bike. I was like, I'm never gonna ride a bike in the city. That was just a fact. I never had ridden a bike in New York City, like on any street, anywhere in New York City. I knew how to ride a bike. I felt fairly comfortable. Holy shit. Seriously, man. You can't do shit like that. I'm comfortable on a bike. I was always sort of pretty comfortable on a bike, but I was terrified of drivers, as you can imagine. Looking at these people. This is who I share the road with. This nincompoop who doesn't have a green light, still going through the intersection. But I made it a New Year's resolution to, it's chopper talk. We got chopper talk. Hold on, let me get through this. So yeah, I made a New Year's resolution in 2016, and I said I just want to ride a bike once in New York City. That was it. I was like, if I do it, I am successful. And so my wife and I, we went out on summer streets, which is 3 weekends out of the year, where Park Avenue is closed to cars and opened to humans from 72nd Street all the way down to the Brooklyn Bridge. So basically like pretty long stretch of multiple miles where there are no cars and you can run, you can bike, you can walk. And we thought, well, let's use that as the opportunity to ride and get a feel for it. So we went out, got a day pass for citibike, and we went into the park, Central Park, and rode around Central Park to get to 72nd on the east side. And I was just like, I was hooked. I was like, holy crap, this is super fun. Riding a bike is like fun. I forgot what it's like to be on a bike just out and about, like in a normal, non-suburban, playground, you know, kind of space. And so we rode, we got to 72nd Street, and then it downpoured. Just, the skies opened up, it began to pour. So we really just couldn't do anything else for that day, but citibike was having a deal, like a discount, and so we said, you know what, like if we only ride a dozen times for the year for $100 for this membership, for $120, it's still worth it. Like, it's still kind of worth it. And you know, if we don't just make a commitment, if we make a commitment, we will attempt to maximize that purchase, that commitment, right? It's kind of like a gym membership. Like, we just sort of committed to saying, all right, we've got to do this, and the more frequently that we use it, the more value we get from this. And we're not the type to just be like, oh, we made a purchase and we squandered it. And so that's when we just signed up and I said, look, we're just gonna have to figure this out and we're gonna ride. We'll find times to ride. We'll find multiple times throughout the year. So I still wasn't commuting, but then one day, after a few weeks, I'd say, I said, I'm gonna try to bike home from work, from Chelsea. And I didn't quite know the path. I just followed what Google said, which was not a great idea, because Google does not know what is a good path during rush hour on like a Friday afternoon. And so it directed me straight up 8th Avenue, which, as you probably saw yesterday evening, the last episode, that was the route I took. It's actually improved a fair amount, but you know, pretty terrifying. It was your first ride. And that was my first ride home. I did that, I survived. I would call it survival. I made it through. It was like a really hard workout, kinda, right, where you're like, I think I might die. But then you get to the end, and you're like, well, I survived, I made it. Maybe I could do this again. You know, maybe it wasn't so bad. And that's when I was like, all right, let me try this again. Tried it again, it was way less, not nearly as stressful, still stressful. Then I just modified my routes a little bit. finally figured out after a few rides, like, oh wait, there's a greenway here. A friend of mine was like, what are you doing taking 8th Avenue? You can always just go slightly out of your way and take this much more relaxing, much safer route. And once I did that, then 900 rides later, and you know, 4 years later, just about, it's been super fun. So that's how I got into riding, and I think the thing that enabled me was citibike. Wow, look at this crowd here. This is real, like the Netherlands crowd here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, a couple people behind me, I think. Little peloton, little group, a wave. And so, yeah, I mean, I would never have done this on my own. I am not the kind of person that would have like went out and just bought a bike without really testing it out. I think we would have rented, I think we did rent a bike at the local shop, and but those bikes are pretty cruddy. You know, the gears are pretty funky and they're kind of run down, so they're not exactly a great experience. They're not like a super smooth and relaxing ride. What's this person doing? Oh yeah, you just went around somebody. This white car that's now honking. Everybody's honking. Let's see these nincompoops. This is JGK2808 in the white Acura. Way to go. You cut in front of HCE 4293 in this red sports car. You guys are not going anywhere. Not sure if you realize, but this is called traffic. This person, HLW 1459, just straight up going through a red light with somebody crossing. This is the kind of, I mean, I probably should keep my eyes on my road, stop getting distracted, but this is the kind of stuff that's super annoying. Look at how this is backed up. And you got these nincompoops like this Beamer coming down this whatever ramp to try to cut off the 50 other cars that are in the way. Everybody's in the way. It's Friday afternoon traffic. All these people can just, you know, eat my fumes. But I don't make fumes because I'm on a bike, so. Also, today is the day of the climate march. Big march, I think at the UN, or I'm not sure where it was exactly, but for climate action, to demand climate action. Big, I think the DOE allowed or gave school children a sort of free pass if they wanted to attend the rally. Would not count as a miss or a whatever it's called in school, a no-show, a tardy, I forget, a demerit. But I wasn't able to join, but I support. So the other question is around, why don't I just buy a bike? And the short answer is, there's a couple of reasons. But the short answer is we are buying a bike, and so the super exciting, we bought a bike. It's called an Urban Arrow. It's a Long John style bike. It's a big cargo bike. Got a big like bucket in the front, super low to the ground, weighs 120 pounds, electric assist with a Bosch motor, 500 watt, 35-mile range on eco, and designed to move children, right? It is a family style cargo bike. We are so excited about this. We bought this a couple weeks ago. It had to be shipped from Amsterdam or somewhere in the Netherlands, but probably, I think it was Amsterdam. Shipped to Chicago, I think. Got backed up in customs, and anyway, long story short, it goes through Chicago because that's where their like holding warehouse is. And then shipped to New York, where it is being built. Today it is being built. and set up by Propel Bikes, which is in Brooklyn, next to the Navy Yard. And God, it's a beautiful day today. Beautiful evening. Look at this. By the way, we're up near the 60s. If you're playing along, the greenway here does not actually show you like street numbers. It's very, very unclear sort of where you are at any given time. Occasionally you see here on the left these little tiny green signs that occasionally will tell you, not in this case, but sometimes will tell you what street you could access if you like make a right. In this case they're not, so not super helpful. In any case, so we have this Urban Arrow. We're going to be picking it up tomorrow morning. Could not be more excited about this. Been waiting for it for a few weeks. So we will be able to say we officially checked the box. We own a bike. We own a bicycle. It still doesn't answer the question, why don't I commute on a lightweight bicycle? And that's a good question. I probably should just get a relatively cheap bike, but I really like citibike. I've ridden a few bicycles before, like a few different styles recently. I hate road bikes. I hate being low to the ground, hunched over, and like this right there. I like the sitting up position. It's very comfortable. I love that citibike has sort of big fat tires, catches potholes easily, that sort of thing. Oh, electric.
I want you nowhere near me.
Don't know what happened there. I think maybe a collision. I don't know. Looks like they're both okay. Electric. Anyway, that's tense. So, because I'm not really sure what the etiquette is there. You're supposed to stop. It didn't look like they needed any help. Anyway, so let's see. So why don't I buy my own bike? I love citibike. They're big and heavy, which is not like, that's a negative. You could say it's a negative, but it's also a positive because they're big and heavy. So they're good bikes to ride around next to cars and near things. Like, they have some real weight to them. I've never fallen on one. I've never been hit on one. I've never hit anyone on one. So I'm pretty aware of like, I'm not aware at all about what happens when you get hit, but these other bikes just feel much lighter, right? So these are big and blue. They have lights built into them. They, if anything goes wrong, like maintenance-wise, like so I had a tire blowout once on them on a ride. All I did was just walk it up to the nearest dock over at like 50th, something like that, 55th on the Greenway. I heard something weird happening on the tire, just figured whatever, I don't care, you know. Then it blew out, and then I was like, all right, whatever, no big deal. Went to a dock, docked it, took out a different bike, continued on. No shame, no problem, you know. And you know, when you own a bike, you have to put in maintenance. You have to spend, you know, time and money on the bike. It's not much different than a car. So like, I'm just learning little bits here and there. I don't really know what it's like to own and maintain a bike, but I understand that that your tires can get flat. So you have to be like helpful, you know, you have to be useful and like change a tire. Your chain, I guess, can get loose or come undone or whatever, so that needs to be maintained, and then you get greasy hands and all that. Or you have to bring it in and then spend money on that, like maintenance, which is cool if you want to do that. I like to not do any of that, and that's partly why I like citibike. I also like the flexibility, the modal flexibility. Now, personally, like, yeah, the last 6 weeks or 5-6 weeks have been just really nice. A few little exceptions here and there, but great biking weather. So I biked almost every ride, every commute to work, back from work, with very few exceptions. Obviously, when it gets cooler out and there's more rain and things like that, you might want to change your mind halfway through the day. So I might say, oh, you know what, it started, the morning started pretty rainy, but then it got really nice in the evening. I might think I want to ride home. But if you own a bike, you kind of have to commit for the day, right? Or you're not going to really leave your bike at work. And like, you know, if you're doing the opposite, where you bike to work and then it gets bad, you know, it gets poor weather. So that optionality is really quite valuable on citibike. So I can easily decide at any time if I feel like taking the subway home, I can do that. If I feel like taking the subway in, I can do that. If I feel like I want to go out afterwards, which never really happens because I got kids. But if I want to like do anything and I want to just bounce around between places, but I don't want to deal with all the hassle of having a bike, I can do that very easily. You just dock it and walk away. It's super easy. You can get a bike in under 8 seconds. You can dock it in under 3 seconds. I think initially I was very anxious and nervous about everything around citibike. Like, well, how do I know if there's going to be docks available? You know, how do I know where there are bikes available? You know, what happens when it's sort of peak times? And those are like issues, but they're like things you easily deal with and work around. You know, just like anything, you just adapt. So yeah, have I encountered situations where the my typical bike racks are like empty, so I can't get one? Yeah, and then I can't really, you know, then I'm like, all right, well, I tried, and I'm not gonna walk, you know, half a mile to get to a dock that has bikes. But that's pretty rare. It just is pretty rare, and like, you don't really need to deal with it because you have an app that tells you right away like what is available and where it is. And sure, at peak times you're sort of screwed at certain places at certain times, but it's not really that big a deal. So I don't even check the app really. I have my go-to spots. Everything is pretty dense, so there's enough coverage in various places that you're only like up to 2 blocks away from a dock. So if one is unavailable or filled or empty, you just take a little stroll and get to the next one. No big deal. So those are some of the big values that you get. I think optionality is the biggest one. You just don't own anything, and it's relatively inexpensive. So now full fare, it's 160 bucks a year if you just straight up buy a membership. But I asked my company if they could offer it as a benefit. They said yes, they would meet us halfway. So now at my company, you pay $60, they match the other $60, and they get $120. Is $120 a year corporate plan or rate for the annual membership. So I only pay $60 a year, $5 a month. $5 a month for this kind of option is like pretty amazing, and to not have to deal with all the maintenance and stuff. Now, there's some downside. You could probably hear it in my voice. This is a beast. This bike is really not for the faint of heart or for short people. My wife has a hard time riding it. It's really not quite that good if you're like 5 feet. It's hard to touch the ground, I think. For me, I'm 6 feet, no problem to touch the ground, super comfortable, like sitting on it, all that. However, it is like, I don't know, 35 pounds or 45, whatever it is, heavy. So you can hear it in my voice. Going up these hills are definitely more challenging than it otherwise would be on a you know, a lightweight 10 speed or whatever. That a lot of people, just your average commuting city bike or, you know, road bike that you might ride, just sort of a beater that gets you from A to B. A lot of people do that. I think that's awesome. I should do that. I really should. I don't really have a reason not to. So maybe at some point I'll do that. I did look at an electric. So when some of this changes a little bit when you introduce electric into the equation. So Citibike offers, or will soon bring back, electric pedal assist bikes. That's cool. Some cops and some people shooting some film or something over there in the corner. So Citibike, for a little while, introduced maybe a 50 or 100 or a couple hundred electric assist, pedal assist electric bikes. And oh man, they are super fun to ride. They change everything. They change all the equations. Hills become just simple, right? There's no stress on any hill. You almost want to go up hills just because it's like crazy to be able to like pedal, barely pedal, and just easily go 10 miles an hour up a hill. The thing about electric pedal assist is that they are not super fast. It's not that they go 50 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour. They top out, these Citibike electrics top out at 15. And you can tell because when you hit the top speed, the motor cuts out, and in order to go any faster, you literally need to pedal against sort of the top speed of the motor. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're almost pedaling against the motor. So it makes it like 3 times as hard. Or at least that's what it feels like. So, let's see if anybody, excuse me, I'm here. So, and that's, I mean, this is not really specific to the Citibike. This is all electric bikes, all electric pedal assist bikes have that, you know, have that style. They feel like that. They feel pretty amazing. You can start, you can go from a stop, you know, stopped position to, you know, 15 miles an hour in 3 seconds. You know, you just start pedaling and right away you're like zip, zippity-doo-dah. And that's, I mean, that's super fun. It is fun. There's no doubt about that. But they're expensive, and so Citibike took them, added them to the fleet. I rode them many times. They were really fun. Then they took them away because they claimed there was a major brake malfunction. The front brake was locking up on the electrics, causing people to flip over their handlebars. Big problems, big mess, probably a class action lawsuit on their hands. I don't know. But they took them all out of rotation. And they still have not brought them back, but they have a promise of bringing them back. Wow, AD 5714 in the bike lane, looking at papers. Bike lanes also serve as home offices for city employees. That's what that is. Super helpful. Thank you, sanitation. So Citibike is going to bring back electric city bikes, electric assist, pedal assist at some point. We don't know when. They said the fall of 2019, so it could be any day. I don't know. They're going to make a big announcement. Bring back probably 4,000 is what they said, which is massive. It's huge. But it means they're also, the announcement was also that they're going to charge $2 per ride if you want to take an electric. The non-electric will still be free. And what I like about this is that it just simply gives me yet another mode to deal with. That if I'm kind of tired or whatever, I could pay $2 and take an electric bike home, right? Maybe if it's super windy, but it's not too cold and it's fine, I could do that. I could take the subway for $2.75, or I could just take a regular city bike for nothing. It's free every time. And that's pretty cool. Now, if I want to get my own electric bike, I test, they are expensive. They're like, you know, $1,500 for a reasonable one. And then it goes up from there. Like there are ones that are thousands of dollars. Oh boy. Oh, that cop just saw me. I don't know if I'm gonna get pulled over. Probably not. Maybe I will. But hope I don't have to pay. Does this bus know that I'm here? Do you know that I'm here? Can you see me, buddy? I'm gonna keep ringing my bell. Maybe someone will hear me. Probably not. That's a little tight. That's a tight squeeze, I'm not gonna lie. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, look at this. They painted the crappy bike lane back. Nice. Nice. My protection is back. Now I know when cars are blocking my path, because now I have lines where I can see that they are blocking the path. This fella.
No, that's the worst thing. Somebody else tell you what they did. If I had a car, I'd be mad like, who the fuck?
So yeah, I test rode a Wing bike. Wing is like a $1,200 electric pedal assist bike that's pretty inexpensive for what it is. Seems like it's a pretty good deal. I test rode it, it's pretty cool. A Gazelle, which is kind of higher, much higher end, will run you. Cool. Now look at this. Look at this situation here. I got a green cab right in front of me and a bus right behind me. Now I'm gonna go this way, but this is how really dangerous stuff and death happens. That's like exactly what would happen if that bus was right next to me, speeding, not paying attention. And I'm trying to pay attention, you know? And then I got this guy blocking it, and I can't get through because 282396, the first state of Delaware, is also in the way. Also, T73 31834C is not even in his car, so he's definitely not picking anybody up. Is he? No, he's not. He's just hanging out here. So that's what I got to deal with on my bike ride on Frederick Douglass Boulevard. What is a beautiful block. It is a great block. I love this neighborhood. I just wish it had fewer cars. Fewer cars. More trees, fewer cars, more people. Instead of this garbage intersection, these giant Robert Moses era intersections that are just a disaster. And then this guy wants to hit me. So that's all I got. So I hope that explains my rationale for why I ride city bike. It's also a really good workout. When you're riding a really heavy bike, boy, I do really well at flywheel and my Peloton classes. It's super fun. My legs get a good workout, and you know, the timing also keeps you honest. Like, you only have 45 minutes, so you sort of hustle a little bit, which is an interesting sort of byproduct of riding a city bike. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time.